well start. As we say, and all over the world, Molweni, how are you all doing? Bonjour, Ekabo. How Makadini, Dumela, how is everybody doing today? Shout out to you all. I am Dr. Kemi Akiode, known as Dr. Mama K, and I'm the CEO and Executive Director for Bold Moves Africa, but I am the moderator today, which is an event by Leading Women of Africa in association with Bold Moves Africa. So you're all welcome. Now, let's start first, by knowing, I know I can see my brother there, Prince Dimeji from Nigeria. Shout out to Prince Dimeji. I don't know how your weather has been wherever you're, joining us from. Rainy Andrews, the Deputy Chairperson for Business Western Cape. You're most welcome. And I can see she's here with me in Cape Town. We've had not too bad a day today, not too sunny. So I want to see let us know where you're joining us from and how the day has been for you. And today we celebrate Human Rights Day in South Africa. So happy Human Rights Day to all my people in South Africa and Southern Africa. And as well, Ramadan Mubarak to everyone who is a Muslim who are currently fasting and all our Christians as well who presently have Lent. And as well is International Women's Month. So shout out to everyone for International Women's Month. We get to celebrate it twice a year in South Africa. So August again, we'll be celebrating. So, well, a little bit of housekeeping. I would appreciate if everybody just have themselves mute. And when you want to talk, apart from the speakers, you could unmute yourself and please have your video on. For those who want to, please feel free to have your video on. We always love to see everyone if you can. It's okay if you're in bed, we don't mind, it's fine. But so far you're decent, whatever you're doing. So depending on which part of the world you're joining us from. So I want to see more. This is an interactive session. The Future is Female Roundtable has been going on for over 3 years. I believe I will get Miss Madeline to correct me. And we normally have it every month. This month, we're focusing specifically on the theme Women in Geopolitics, navigating global geopolitical challenges. And as we all know right now, we have a lot of that happening around the world. So we've got 3 amazing speakers today. Amazing, well-known. Wow, I was looking at their CV and I was just like, wow, this is, we're so humbled, to have you on board. They're so knowledgeable, they're skilled, they're powerful, they're, doing great things in terms of nation building amongst women. So let me see who else is in the room. Before we go on more, we welcome Prince Dimeji. Thank you, you're welcome. Miss Rainy Andrews, thank you, from Business Western Cape, South Africa. And she's the Treasurer General for the Black Business Chamber. Miss Sheila Mailer, she's the National Deputy Chairperson for BRICS Women Business Alliance South Africa chapter. And we're so honored to have you here. We want to hear more, from you. Thank you. I can see Prince Dimeji saying more about what, he does. Thank you very much. You're a member of the International Press Institute, a member of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, and a member of the Guild of Corporate Online Publishers. And I believe, if I'm not wrong, you probably got an award, probably 2 years ago, you were nominated under the Leading Women of Africa. So you're all welcome. Thank you, everyone. I can see Bongi, I can see Dennis, I can see Ambassador Pam Inyabong, you're welcome. So please use the chat room. We want to hear where you're joining us from and who you are and what the weather is, there. So we've got an amazing lineup of program. I know it's late in South Africa and early in some parts of Africa, but we're hoping to finish about 10:20. We finish 10, and then there's the after party, which is the one I'm normally looking for. Not just after party, but B2B session as well as an open mic session. And we've got a lot planned for you for this evening. So you're most welcome. I can see more people, writing. This is a very interactive session. Please feel free, apart from, we want you to mute yourself, but use the chat room. We want to know more about you, and we've got powerful people in here. Welcome, my dear sister Pauline from Nairobi, Kenya. How are you? Asante Sana. How are you today? I hope you're well. And let's see. Oh, Botswana in the house. Okay. Pamela Dube, you're most welcome. Any Zimbabwean? I'm sure we should have a Zimbabwean in the house. Malawi, Zambia, please, let's see you. Let's see you. Let's hear you. Okay, so I'm going to now hand over to my dear sister, the president of Leading Women of Africa. And I think she has a slide she wants to share as well. So she's going to officially welcome and do any relevant protocols. She is Madeline Nkuno. She's the president and CEO of Leading Women of Africa. She's an amazing woman. She does so much for women across Africa. She is passionate about what she does. I don't want to read her bio, but I'm sure some of you know her. But if you don't know her, you need to know her. So welcome, my dear sister, to Future is Female Match Edition.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Need you. Africa need me. Africa need women that will understand the geopolitics dynamics, so that we can navigate and come out of it victoriously. Thank you so much. And over to you, Mama Kay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my dear sister. Powerful words here. Completely agree with you. And yes, I knew you were going to share that good news of Namibia, if anyone, is not aware. And congratulations to our female president for Namibia. We really celebrate you today. I think I read in the chat room, Prince Dimeji was suggesting writing an official congratulatory letter to the Namibian president, and it could be forwarded through his media outfit. So I think that's another action that will come on, from this. And thank you as well. I want to encourage, women here, all from Africa, please, please join the LWA, the Leading Women of Africa. You have so much, to benefit being a member. And as well, the BRICS. Yes, we have someone from the BRICS who is in here, and we'll probably want to hear her voice at some point. So yeah, I know it. BRICS has extended past just South Africa in Africa, Nigeria, and a few other African countries are now part of BRICS. So we need to be part of the solution, like what we've been reminded. Now we cannot say, yeah, we don't want to be involved in politics or geopolitics as it is. So welcome again to this edition of Future is Female Virtual Roundtable, Women in Geopolitics. We've got our three amazing panelists in the house, and they're joining us from different parts of Africa and the world, apparently. So I will introduce them in no particular order, but we will, keep using the chat room. We'll come back to it, please. Feel free. I can see already some people are sharing their links. Let's connect. Andrew Blackwell, United States founder of Dream Again. Please use that chat room. We cannot stress that enough. Yes, the program will be recorded and shared at a later date, but the whole point of this is for us to connect. Use that chat room, and we've got amazing, powerful people in the house. So 3 panelists today. We've got our young man amongst them. So in no particular order, I'm going to just introduce them. And they're just going to initially just tell us, just an overview in terms of what our topic is, which is women in geopolitics, navigating global geopolitical challenges, just for about 3 minutes. Let me start first with our dear sister, Chancellor. She used to be Chancellor. Fozia Peer, she is the former Deputy Mayor of eThekwini Municipality in South Africa. She's a leading woman in South African politics over the years in local government policies. And she's been involved, in various projects, across Africa. You can already see some of, what we're saying about her there. She's won the hearts of the grassroots of the Metropolitan of eThekwini. She served in the regional, provisional, and now serving on the national executive of the ANC. Her prominence is attributed. Oh my word, I just realized I've been speaking to myself. So sorry. I don't know what happened there. Okay. So sorry. What did you guys hear, Madeline? I
I
just
think
realized.
maybe just 1 second, one or few words. I don't think we miss much. You can
Oh,
just
okay.
continue, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. As the deputy mayor and acting mayor of eThekwini municipality, she played a crucial role in the administration and governance of the municipal policies and programs, ensuring strategic service delivery goals were met. A passion for local government politics is about being able to make an impact on the people in a very real and tangible way. She's down to earth, she's accessible, she responds, a lot of time to anything she's called. And her role as a vice president of Minara Chamber of Commerce has propelled the organization to advance in a multitude of platforms. She acquired much exposure and many opportunities, which enabled her to work with other businesses. I could go on and on about her. She's about empowering women, whether they're in small, medium, or micro enterprises. And I believe last year she wrote a book, as well, and she won an award under the Leading Women of Africa. So, my dear sister, you're welcome. She will only be able to join us via audio. So please just bear with us. She's right with us in the room. So Councillor Fazia, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mama Kem. Good evening to all the distinguished participants, esteemed panelists, and organizers of this vital discussion. It is truly an honor to join this dialogue, I must say, hosted by leading women of Africa in collaboration with Bold Moves Africa. I commend your efforts in creating a platform where we, as women, can address the crucial role we play in shaping geopolitics and building a resilient Africa. I also want to acknowledge Madam Madeline Mkunu, who is the backbone of this organization. Do I have to say a little bit more?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, maybe a little bit, just a general overview of what you think about the topic, okay. And then, thank you, ma'am.
As someone, just off the cuff, it's someone deeply engaged in governance and public service and community development. I have witnessed firsthand the incredible capacity of women to drive meaningful change. And tonight's theme, Women in Geopolitics, Navigating Global Dynamics for a Resilient Africa, resonates deeply with me. It actually speaks to the urgent need for inclusivity, innovation, and strategic thinking, yeah. And we confront the complex challenges of our times. I think that's a good introduction. Mama
Thank
Kem,
you very much.
Anymore.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I really, really appreciate and I love that introduction. And I completely agree with you. Now we'll go over to another powerful person, in our midst, Professor Caroline Makaka. She is the founder, CEO of, just a minute, I have it here, of Leaders of All Nations International Diaspora. international, and she's based in the diaspora. I could go on about her. In fact, she's on 2 page on my paper here. She's won so many awards. 2024 World Change of the Year, most influential female icon. She received a recognition award at the House of Parliament. She's named Empowerment of the Year in New York. She received a Volunteer Lifetime Achievement Award from the USA President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris then. And she received a citation as well from the New York Mayor Eric Adams. She served on various boards, whether non-profit and social enterprise. She serves as a director, expert advisor, and professor for the Institute of Global Professionals. And yet she's the founder of Loani. I hope I got the abbreviation right, a certified world record holder and an international accredited non-profit organization that focuses on sustainability and corporate social responsibilities. Professor Caroline, my dear sister, you're welcome. I know you're joining us from far, far, far away as well, but you will only be able to join us by audio, we've been told. So please do just say a little bit about yourself and about the topic. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Right now I'm in China and it's around 2:40 a.m. But I'm here. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much. First of all, I just want to say thank you, leading women of Africa and Bold Moves, and my wonderful sister, Madeleine, for inviting me. It's such a great honor, and thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. And you have said it all, so I don't need to say more about myself, but I'm just so grateful to be here, and thank you for the opportunity. Just my overview summary about the topic today. I'll just say that as the world faces pressing challenges such as climate change, migration crisis, global health threats, the contribution of women in geopolitics are vital. The narrative of the future is women. So it captures the potential of transformative change. So when women are empowered to participate fully in decision making, it will cultivate an environment where women's voices are heard, valued, with essential in shaping a more equitable, sustainable, and stable global future. Yeah. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you very much, Professor Caroline, for that all the way from China. And I know, like you said, it's very early in the morning for you there. And I completely agree. The narrative of the future is indeed women. So I want to introduce, last but not the least, our man in the room. And trust me, we want to involve our men. So we already heard Prince Dimeji there, already excited and being part of this, and already a partner with the leading women of Africa. So we have a third panelist who is a man amongst all these powerful women, a powerful man himself, Dr. Alexander Chisango, and he's an international leader and nation builder. He's based in Zimbabwe, and he's an educationist and an empowerment engineer from Harare, Zimbabwe. He's the founder president of the World Economic Congress, which is an alliance of solution leaders and solution authorities in Africa and internationally. The WEC, which is the World Economic Congress, solution leaders are collaborating towards economic reconstruction, Africa reconstruction, and faith reconstruction through building inclusive investments, economic communities, towns, cities, and nations that are characterized by sufficiencies, solution, and salvation. Thank you so much, sir, and you're most welcome. If you could unmute yourself, I think you'll be able to join us by video. Please, if you could do that and just say a few words, on the topic.
Yeah, so salutations to Madam Madeleine Nkunu, the most resilient woman and woman leader in the continent. Very patient and never giving up. And we also really appreciate our principal facilitator in this session, who is also on the program, Dr. Mama, who is right here with us. I give a lot of credit to the organizers and the hands that are behind this great move, contributing to not just the emancipation of women, but of all of Africans and African people through the contribution of the women. And I want to hope and believe that the other great woman, my own partner and spouse, she's also in the meeting. I want to salute her for being one of the great women leaders and influencers of our time. And by her encouragement, I'm here, having missed this August event last year through circumstances beyond my control. On that note, I want to also, in advance, extend appreciation and greetings and the right hand of fellowship to my co-presenters and co-panelists that are here present. Her Worship, the former mayor of Ekurhuleni, and also the professor who has battled the time differences to be with us in this virtual webinar. So in advance, I should say to you, I'm very ecstatic to be contributing to this webinar because I've been thirsty and hungry to be invited to such. I used to work in one of my few stints during the early years of my professional work. I used to be, when I was in government, after leaving the Department of Education, I found myself in the Department of Community Development and Women's Affairs. So I qualify to be a women's spokesperson in that regard. Hopefully, I want to look forward to the, I really appreciate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
all.
much, sir. Thank you very much. You're most welcome here. You definitely qualify, and we'll welcome your partner as well, who is here to support you. And as obviously, will want to hear a voice because this is what this is about: women supporting women, and our men as well supporting what we're doing. So let me start now with a few questions directed to some of to our panelists. But before I do that, I want to welcome a few people because we've had more people joining. You're welcome. And this indeed is the Future is Female Virtual Roundtable, and we're talking about women in geopolitics, navigating global geopolitical challenges. So welcome. Royal Highness Princess Zulu from South Africa. She's the chairperson of the Cannabis Federation Association of South Africa. Nomsa Lorraine from South Africa, Bonge from South Africa, Nadine Edward from Zimbabwe. Exciting stuff happening in Namibia. I do completely agree with you. Power to the women. And I did share, Andre Blackwell shared their Connect group. Please connect with them. United States founder of Dream Again. I want to find out what all that is about. Yeah, power to the women. Congratulations to Namibia. And I'm just trying to see what else is interesting here. So yeah, thank you, Madeleine. She's shared the Women in Geopolitics physical meeting happening on the 29th of March in Pretoria. So feel free to register, which can, for those who are able to join, please we want more physical meetings as well to be attended, not just virtual if you can. And then who else? Yeah, Ngozi Oyewole, you're welcome, ma'am. The president of Commonwealth Business Women Africa, and she's based in the UK. I hope all the fire at Heathrow today has not affected anyone. No, yesterday has not affected anyone here, where power outage and all sorts was happening. And it's not just, when we hear such story, we think power outage, load shedding as we know it, or as we say, Nigeria blackout or NEPA, it's not just Africa. We do have occasions like that in the UK, but shout out to everybody. Adamu Ibrahim, you're most welcome. So let me direct my first question to us panelists. And I'll start first with Professor Caroline. If you don't mind, I know it's early morning in China just now. For you, we currently have all these global conflicts, Ukraine, Israel, US, and a lot of policy changes, that are indeed, reshaping, Africa. What are some of the strategies, that we need, or how are they really even affecting us, in reshaping Africans' political and economic output? And then what are some of the strategies, that we need to employ to safeguard its economic and geopolitical interests in this volatile climate? Professor Caroline?
Okay. So I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I'll just say that in light of the ongoing global conflicts, including those in Ukraine, Israel, as well as the shift in USA foreign policy, I would say that Africa's political and economic landscape is facing a significant change, as you know, with the aid as well. So these events necessitize that African nations adopt diplomatic strategies to protect their interests during these challenging times as well. So I would say that with the possibility of the aid reduction from global partners, Africa must focus on building self-resilience and developing sustainable economic strategies, innovative approach in trade, investment, and policies are crucial for navigating the challenges posed by what is going on as well. So I can also say that just focusing on women as well, that women play a crucial role in strengthening Africa's global influence and negotiating the power through their contribution to diplomacy and governance. However, the systematic barriers such as gender bias, institution, and limitation are restricted to leadership opportunities, continue to hinder their full opportunities. So what I can say is that also lack of work balance for women as well. So, the leadership position often demands significant time, commitment, including traveling and extended hours, which may complicate work-life balance for individuals with caregiving responsibility, a burden of, and family commitments as well. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Professor. Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Caroline, for that, start off. Let me now go to Dr. Alexander in terms of your line of work. Would you agree with, Professor Caroline in terms of what she's saying, or what have you seen, the recurrent issues that are reshaping us, in Africa politically and economically, and what are the strategies that we can employ, to safeguard this? Dr. Alexander, if you could unmute yourself.
Thank you. Yes, I can almost equate the challenges that Africa as a whole is facing with the challenges that women as a whole are facing. I think the challenges of Africa are just like the challenges that the women as a whole are facing. Now, I'll start from the challenge of tokenism.
Mm.
And I can link tokenism to trivialization. So tokenism, it is actually born from trivialization, which means the attitude of the whole world about Africa is that Africa is trivial. Africa is not a major, it is a minor geopolitical group of people, whether it is the businesses of Africa, the governments of Africa, the countries of Africa, the women of Africa, the professors of Africa. Anything that really comes out of Africa is treated as trivial, including even the peacemakers from Africa are viewed as trivial. And so when and the stigma, it then generates now tokenism. And whether we're talking of the field of diplomacy, right up to the United Nations level, Africa's voice is needed as a token, not as substance. Africa's, even if you look at G20, which an African country is chairing this year, the way the chairperson of the G20 is treated if it comes to Africa, it is different from how G20 chairperson or president is treated when this is outside of Africa. So the presidency of the G20 under an African country at the moment, it's really just a token. It's not really, I mean, the current president of the G20 is not even permitted or respected to set the agenda of the summit. And already the agenda is being boycotted by some big powers. So the presidency, therefore, it's a cosmetic decoration. Now, this is the same situation that you find. Now, that's the global geopolitical space that is obtaining at the moment. And therefore, this is the same thing that you also find with many agendas that come from women and women leaders. They are received at a token level and they are received at a trivial level. And they're just accommodated in order to fulfill the rituals of human rights and the tokenism of human rights, but without real substantive commitment to transformation and commitment to inclusion. So this is this is what he's obtaining at the moment. I'm hoping that along the way, during the conversations, we will be able to go deeper into engaging a transformation of the landscape. So when Africa, geopolitically, when Africa is tokenized and trivialized, women then they suffer a double blow. They suffer a double blow because they suffer with Africa, then they suffer in Africa by themselves. Right, over to you.
Wow, wow, thank you for that, Dr. Alexander. I think if somebody like you who has so much experience and skill and work, in terms of what you're doing as an international leader and through your World Economic Congress, still feel, that we're still that tokenism, is still ongoing and being trivialized, and whereby we're just a number. But I want to hear the view, maybe in the chat room as well, what people feel, is that still the case? Is that what we see? How do we address that? Because that is a big issue that we needs African solution for. Let me now move over to Councillor Pear now on the issue of strengthening Africa's governance and global influence. Because with you, you've got that background, within the government, and you have so much experience, within that field. So, what would you say are the policies that African governments need to implement to position Africa as a global force in geopolitical negotiations? Over to you.
Thank you, Em. Thank you so much. I think when we look at the policies and that of how African government can implement to position Africa as a global force in geopolitical negotiations, I was thinking to position Africa as a formidable force in global geopolitical negotiations, African governments must adopt a multi-pronged approach, and that which will leverage the continent's unique strengths while addressing the challenges that are posed by external policies. That's important. Now, such as those implemented by Trump's administration. So the reduction in aid and disengagement from Africa by the United States under Trump's leadership has underscored the need for Africa now to chart its own course. That's what Africa has to do.
Can we mute the person? Thank you. Sorry, you can go ahead.
And to have independent of the external dependencies, that has to slowly, wave away. And I would say a few points I made on this whole thing about sovereignty. Firstly, we need to strengthen intra-Africa unity and integration. That is important. The foundation of Africa's geopolitical strength lies in its unity. First is unity. So the African continental free trade area is a prime example of how the continent can consolidate its economic power. So what we have to do is to foster deeper economic integration. African nations will have to create a single market now that not only attracts investment, but also enhances their collective bargaining power in a global trade negotiation. So if we look at the second point I put on diversity in international partnerships. So you see the Trump's administration policies, they include aid cuts and a diminished focus on Africa. This has heightened the risk of reliance on traditional Western partners. So what? So African governments must diversify. They have to diversify the international alliances. And how you do that? By strengthening ties with emerging powers such as China, India, and Brazil, the BRICS. Move away from those bullies, as well as to deepen South African cooperation. So this kind of diversification will not only reduce dependency, which is a vital factor, but also what it's going to do, it will position Africa as a key player in a multipolar world. We must aim towards that. Thirdly, I thought of how to invest in human capital and innovation. So Africa's greatest asset is its people.
Yeah.
We have people there, and abundance, particularly women and the youth. So government must prioritize education, skills development, and technological innovation to build a workforce that is capable of driving economic growth. And also, in the same strength, compete on the global stage. So, how? By investing in research and development. We can't be backwards. Africa can become a hub, I can tell you, for innovation, particularly in sectors like renewable energy, also agriculture. I was looking at that, and digital technology. Although it's a little bit backwards in that, but I'm sure it has to move. So I looked at the fourth point, and that is, how should we assert sovereignty, which is South Africa's biggest problem here, and self-reliance, which is very important. So the Trump administration's disengagement has really underscored the importance of self-reliance. So African governments must focus on building resilient economies, and they become less independent on foreign aid. We have to move away from that. Don't be dependent on foreign aids. This includes, we have to develop local industries, promote value additions to raw materials, and also in the same strength, foster our entrepreneurship. So sovereignty also extends to the political realm, where African nations, now they have to assert their right to pursue independent foreign policies and without any, and I mean any, external interference. We don't want that. So the fifth point I put on is leveraging Africa's strategic resources. Africa is a home to vast reserves. We keep reading about that, vast reserves of critical minerals and also natural resources that are essential to the global economy. So what governments must do, they must adopt policies that ensures that these resources are used to benefit the continent rather than being exploited by external powers. And I'm emphasizing on that. So this includes negotiating the fair trade agreements, implementing resource beneficiations strategies, and also ensuring transparency in resource management, which is vital. The other point I also wrote on is advocate for reform in global governance. Now, Africa's underrepresentation in global institutions, such as the United Nations Security Council, it's a glaring inequity. You can just see it. African governments must collectively advocate for reforms now, which will reflect the continent's growing importance in global affairs. So this includes pushing, and I really mean pushing, for permanent representation on the Security Council, and also on greater influence in international financial institutions. That's imperative. And then we look at how you build resilience against external shocks. That South Africa got the biggest shock. How do we build resilience? The Trump's administration policies, they including trade tariffs and aid cuts, have exposed Africa's vulnerability to external shocks. Governments must now build economic resilience. And how they should do that? By diversifying exports, strengthening regional supply chains as well, and also investing in infrastructure. I think South Africa, that is the biggest problem, that supports intra-African trade. So that's what we have to pay much attention, and I would say utilize soft power as well. Africa's rich cultural heritage. What a vibrant art scene we have and dynamic diaspora. They are powerful tools for soft diplomacy. And how we do that? We promote African culture and their values on the global stage. Governments can enhance the continent's influence and foster goodwill as well. And I would say we should engage in strategic diplomacy. We should. African governments must adopt a proactive approach to diplomacy. That is a must. This includes forming strategic alliances, participating also actively in multilateral forums, and also leveraging Africa's collective voice to shape global policies. So diplomacy should be underpinned by a clear vision of Africa's long-term interest and, of course, a commitment to achieving them. So what would say that Trump's administration's policies have served a wake-up call for Africa now to redefine its role in the global order. How? By implementing these policies. So African governments can transform the continent into, of course, a global force that commands respect and drives change on the world stage. The time for Africa to rise is now, ladies and gentlemen. So let us seize this moment with unity, vision, and determination. Thank you.
Wow, powerful words there, powerful. I can't even try and summarize. Thank you so much, Madam Fazia, for that. How to, we need to do more in terms of strengthening our ties, in terms of unity. We need to diversify, we need to reduce dependency. Completely agree. We need to build resilient economy. We need to invest more in our human capital. I could go on and on. There were a lot in there in terms of strategies that you've recommended and what we need to do. And I know most of the time, I think it's always about action. Who needs to take that action? Who needs to do this? Who needs, to, like you said, leverage Africans' resources and how to advocate reform, investing, in our infrastructure. Let me now invite Professor Caroline, on this one, because I know if not, we never, like Madam Madeline said, we'll never have enough time. 2 hours is not even enough to try and get into this. A reminder for everyone to please mute yourself. If you're not a panelist, please remember to just respect everyone in here and mute yourself. If you're not a panelist, I think panelists are allowed to unmute and mute, as they're brought in. So let me now direct this question to Professor Carolina Makaka. What are the barriers, preventing women from taking up leadership roles in international relations, and how can we overcome them? Because some of what Madam Fuzzy has spoken about are things that, we need women leaders more, to do more. Not saying we don't have enough women leaders right now, and we are doing better than we did. Namibia, like, we all know, now has the, female president, and is growing, each time across Africa, where we have more female presidents, not just being president, but being involved more genuinely in politics, not as a tokenism, like Dr. Alexander said, earlier on. So, Professor Caroline, what are your views, on barriers preventing women, and maybe any of what some of your other colleagues have, spoken about?
Yes, thank you so much. I think some of the barriers is like cultural and social norms, and the one I mentioned before, underrepresentation and work-life balance as well. Access to education is another one as well. And bias and discrimination as well, just because we are women, is another one. So I think one of the points which I really want to mention to overcome all these barriers is I want to focus on the Sustainable Development Goal number 17, which is partnership for goals. So people needs to unite. So it focuses on strengthening global partnership to support sustainable development. And I would say that why I'm talking about goal number 17 is because one, it will increase financial support and investment. So that way it encourage international financial flows, including foreign direct investment and aid, which we talked about before, to support Africa economic growth. And also, it will mobilize resources from developed nations and global institutions to finance infrastructure, education, and healthcare. And also, this will also help with the trade expansion and market access. So, strengthening Africa participation in global trade by promoting fair trade policies and reducing barriers. So, the most important thing is support the Africa, continental free trade areas. This will enhance the Africa trade and global export. And also one of the most important is technology and digital transformation, which can facilitate access to modern technology and digital solutions, boosting innovation and industrialization. So also, let's talk about the capacity building and skills development, which will also promote knowledge sharing and training program. We need those training program to develop a skilled workforce. So we also need to encourage those partnerships between universities, business, local communities, international organization, everybody, to enhance education, vocational training. So by doing that as well, it will help, the sustainability and also infrastructure development. So let's encourage public, private sectors partnership to build resilience and create jobs. Strong policies as well is very important. And this will help African government implementing better policies through economic policies to attract investment. They need to attract investment. And let's support our small business entrepreneurs as well. We need to support them, the SME. We need to support them. And let's enhance financial inclusion and market access for Africa SME, which are key drivers of economic growth. So we also need to encourage microfinance and entrepreneurship programs to empower local communities as well. So in conclusion, I'll say by cultivating global partnership, investment, trade, and technology transfer, which is SG 17, Sustainable Development Goal 17, can help Africa accelerate economic growth, create jobs, and build a more sustainable and inclusive economy. More importantly, strengthening this collaboration will be essential in achieving a long-term development and prosperity across our continent. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prof. For that input. Very, very in depth. And I can read in the chat room, Madam Madeline, she's summarizing, some of what you've said, which are important, the SDG goal 17. And as well, I can see an individual there, Chaha, who is saying, she was a council candidate in the 2024 Yeah, I don't know what has happened now, but she's looking for mentorship and connecting with others. And I can see Madeline has already answered that, to connect, with the LWA. We do have, that resources. They are, they do that. That's part of what they do. They can connect you, to women in politics and help with training and mentorship. Thank you so much, Professor. Caroline, for that input, and very, very important, strong policies. And I know previously on Future is Female, we've spoken about how, yes, we do have strong policies, but sometimes implementing them and actioning them. But so we need to make sure we get our government accountable, in terms of implementing policies. Let me now go to Dr. Alexander. I know you threw that question to us about that challenge, in terms of tokenism and trivialization. So for you, what would you suggest are the solutions, for us to address that? And as well, some of what some of your other colleagues have mentioned in terms of, how, the solution to overcoming some of this challenge of having women, in leadership roles in international relations, and as well as, this issue of the 8 courts, yes, we need to do something. We need to build self-reliance. We need to, Madam Fazem gave a lot, in there in what she said. What would you say are your own personal views and based on your experience and some of the people that you work with? Thank you, sir. If we could see you as well, sir, Dr. Alexander, if you could put your video on. I know our other two can't because of where they are. Is Dr. Alexander still in the room? Let me see. Yeah. You need to unmute yourself, sir, and to put your video on. Dr. Alexander Chizango. Maybe he's having problems. I can see him. While we're waiting for him, just to say, please remind everyone, do use the chat room. It's there for you to use and to, ask all those questions. You never know who might be able to answer. We see you. I read Blessing Langa's message. 54 countries in Africa are enough, and I completely agree with you, to change the narrative of third world continent to become first. We already have polyeconomic zone that already established, especially PTA. AU, African Union, why not harnessing those potential spaces? I agree with you, my dear sister. Thank you. Have we got Dr. Alexander now? Okay, I see him, but he's in the room. So, Madam Fazia, based on what, while we're waiting for Dr. Alexander to join us, based on what we've heard and we've shared so far, how, do you think, and you being part of various business groups and so on, so how can emerging women leaders be mentored and equipped to take on influential global roles? We already have somebody in in the chat room saying, I want to be mentored. So what more can we do to support or equip, women to take influential global roles, and as well, for them to play more, roles in terms of Africa's diplomacy and an economic agenda?
Okay, is that my question too? I thought that was the question 3. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm just adding everything. I'm combining everything.
Okay.
Because of time.
All right. Okay, I'm just going to say that, historically, we know that women have been underrepresented in decision-making spaces that shape global dynamics, Yet evidence consistently shows us when women are involved, the outcomes are more inclusive, more equitable, and also sustainable. So women bring unique perspectives rooted in empathy, collaboration, and community-centric approaches. So these are qualities that Africa, with its diverse cultures and histories, desperately needs as we navigate an evolving geopolitical landscape. So we must harness these strengths to promote peace, resolve conflicts, and also advance development across the continent. So if we look at what role should women-led networks, if that's a question you gave me, networks and organizations play in advancing Africa's diplomatic economic agenda? Is that what you asked me?
That, and as well, how they can influence. Yeah, correct. Thank you, ma'am.
Is that the one or on decision making?
Yes.
So on decision making, I would say that, oh God, I got it all upside down here. That women, always you must remember that women offer different perspectives and also an interest in decision-making processes, from the unique experiences that they have, which are often overlooked. I must say, women's experiences are overlooked due to underrepresentation in the political and decision-making positions. That's what I have seen over 30 years of experience. So to attract, support, and retain women's career in diplomacy, one can rely on women and underrepresented minorities. So we need to ensure that in all sectors, the recruitment processes are fair and that there's no biasness against women that are rooted out. And this must be rooted out, for example, by making sure that selection panels themselves are diverse, because that's a fundamental problem. If men are on the recruiting side of it, you're not going to get a lot of women coming in. So women's involvement in decision-making is critical to keep international policy makers regarding mainly on climate change, but also more generally relevant to the needs of the entire population, including half, which is women. We need to be there when they talk about climate change. It's not only the men who are in majority should do that. Women should be part of all political processes as key constituents who are impacted by, of course, healthcare decisions, and also impacted by the challenges at stake, possibly in areas such as conflict development healthcare. All that women should be in the forefront. What about trade policies? Our speaker spoke on earlier on. Trade policies needs to work for the largest possible group of people. That is the women. We must talk on the trade policies, which means that women's representation in decision-making is critical. And we must understand that. Society would benefit and enabling them to see also that when we go towards prosecuting crimes of gender-based and sexual violence and war and conflicts, women should be included in all these decision-making bodies. We require women's equal representation also in international jurisprudence. And challenges simply cannot be tackled by excluding women and other unrepresented groups from decision-making processes. So therefore, it's imperative to ensure those processes are inclusive at all times. We have to fight for it. Also, it is women who are more likely to make social inclusion a priority a girl or a part on their gender. So it's women that would think of another woman. Sometimes they become barriers as well. If I look at gender equity necessities first, I would say that women must have opportunities to engage equitably in all dimensions of restoration of economy, from decision-making and process development to implementing to monitoring and evaluation, all that process. I fought for it in government, always. I felt that don't leave us out.
Yeah.
We must be there to understand what you want to do, because we are also half of the population. Secondly, women need to be empowered economically to participate in and equitably benefit from the economy. So if we are not going to do it ourselves, no one's going to do it for us. And I think this whole concept of empowering women's participation in the economy, one would say it's a multidimensional approach, but we can't keep empowering women. I think women are now developed. We are mothers, we have children. We know how to look after the house, the finance. So we're empowered. So we need to now take the bull by its horn.
Yep.
We need to now develop systems, for women's empowerment in the economy. And this must be a priority. And that we must demand attention. We must demand attention from regional and national planners, practitioners, and funders. If we're not going to do it, I don't think anyone's going to help us. What about gender responsive approach? Women should not be they should not be passive beneficiaries, but as active decision makers and drivers of the development of a robust economy. That's what we want them to do. So,
thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, my dear sister Fozia there for those powerful words, yet again. I know Dr. Alexander Chisango, we tried to make him join, but he had some network challenges. But I want to hear, his views, especially on some of what you've said and what Professor Caroline has said. And I totally agree with you. We must fight for it. We don't want to be left out. We must not be passive. However, I think some of our women are getting tired, of always fighting. Why do we always have to? And, like you said, earlier on, Dr. Alexander, that it seems as a tokenism, kind of thing in terms of geopolitical matters. So how do we address this, Dr. Alexander? I now want solutions. Before we go on to the questions and answers, because we want to give people opportunity, to ask you specific question. I can already see some comments in the chat room. Please keep them coming and I'll, come to them. So Dr. Alexander Chisango.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And apologies for missing out on the earlier gist because of network challenges and adverse weather, heavy rains on this side currently. Anyway, the overcoming of these situations, I'll repeat and take off from what I said earlier on to say there are striking similarities between the challenges and the setbacks that Africa as a people does face globally, and the challenges that the women as a people group face both in Africa as well as globally. But having said that, there are so many ways out of this rut. One of them is for us to be able to get into leadership or to put into leadership those who have a clear understanding of the problem, because the problem is really in the systems. The problem is really in the systems. I was listening very carefully when we were starting, and we were making celebrations concerning some of the countries that have managed to have African countries that have managed to have female presidents or heads of states or heads of governments. And I was saying to myself, proof and evidence on the ground does not always or has not always told us that the women, generality of the women in those countries, they became better because a woman was a head of government or a head of state. So we still suffer from a leadership deficit. We elect sometimes leaders either because they are black and we think they are African, and then sometimes we elect leaders because they are female and we think they are female. But many times some of them just come in and become chauvinist, but wearing female looks, and they just forget about the struggle. They forget about where they have come from and why they were put there. So we need to be very, in fact, we need to build a community of intelligence. Our women must become a community of intelligence rather than a populist community. Women of a community of intelligence is a community that discusses real and strategic issues. They may not make a lot of noise, but they will rule because they are and they do have the intelligentsia. So they can sift the strategic and critical issues from the mob issues. And that is very critical when we are choosing leadership. So this is the problem that I've seen, setting women backwards. You know, sometimes you elect one woman, and then when that woman trivializes the issues of underdevelopment, the issues of the struggles that both women and Africans are facing, then you stand accused now collectively of having failed. And then the next election and the next one, this thing is a blemish that is being pointed on every woman, and it becomes a curse rather than an opportunity. So that is very, very, very important. We have suffered, even as Africa, geopolitically on global platforms, because frequently we have been represented by tokenists and trivialists wearing African dresses and moving around with African diplomatic passports, but they are on payrolls of the same systems that have dogged us and left us stranded up to the point where we are now. So this is a conversation that obviously we can't finish it in this webinar, but I recommend it for subsequent discourses that must follow, because we are victims of this right up to the level of the African Union, and the African diaspora is also a victim to this whole matter here. So there is no reason, for example, as to why, with all the numbers, the majority numbers that women wield, that are also almost similar to the vast majority numbers that Africa wields on the continent and internationally. There is no justification why we can't have strategic economic projects that really we own, and we can say, here is a bank whose shareholders are women across the continent, whose shareholders are Africans across the world, for that matter. And imagine how much finances we can move right now when we are working in the financial markets. Sometimes it's very disturbing that you can be told that if 10 billion US dollars is to be moved into an African country or an African region, you can be told that there is no financial vessel or there is no financial institution that is licensed to move or to receive that amount of money, because our banks are token and tokenist banks. They don't and they cannot carry money. Look at the money that moved into Ukraine just for war and for chaos. Money that moved just from the US alone for war and for killing and for chaos. Look at how much has moved into DRC, the country that has got the largest numbers of refugees, war-related refugees of all time and in our time. Token finances, token diplomacy, token campaigns, and so forth and so on. So, but we've got leaders. So we've got token leaders. With all due respect, we have token leaders who both trivialize their own as well as accept to be trivialized, as well as they are put on a payroll, and then they can go to holiday resorts themselves and they forget why they are put there. And so women must take lessons from why Africa herself, regardless of the mind-boggling endowment with natural resources and human capital resources, and all other opportunities, why haven't we become what we must become? I want to close by saying also in these comments, liberation and emancipation is never donated. It's never donated. If somebody tells you that I'm donating to you emancipation and liberation, they are just making you to fly on a, in a Chinese balloon over the United States, and they're just lying. So liberation and emancipation requires to be organized, and it requires to be acquired. It must be self-acquired. So up until we have gotten to say enough is enough, let's really acquire this thing because it's attainable. We may remain in a merry-go-round. So let me say the last sentence. If you want to see how much tokenized we are and trivialized, we sent a delegation of African presidents, about 5 or 6 of them, to the Ukraine to mediate and arbitrate between Russia and Ukraine for peace. And this delegation included the then chairperson of the African Union summit. During that time was the president of the Comoros. And they conveniently chose the South African president to chair as the delegation leader. But you know what, when even the presidential chartered plane landed in Poland, that presidential plane and the presidential security, they were disallowed to function presidentially in Poland. The presidential security and aides, they were literally arrested in Poland, and they were told that you don't qualify to be security here, and your guns, you don't qualify to carry your guns here. Your African guns don't work, and they don't qualify to be here in Poland. Now, that's how we are trivialized and tokenized. And when they were ridiculed, even by the president of, or the personal advisor of President Zelensky, when he trivialized and ridiculed that whole delegation of 5 or 6 presidents from Africa, I recall very clearly the statement that presidential advisor said in Kiev. He said, these people from Africa, they don't even have capacity to comprehend what the issues are in this war. So they must just go back home. You know, they don't have a capacity. 5 or 6 presidents and their officials don't have a capacity. The African Union doesn't have a capacity to comprehend, just not even to mediate, but just to comprehend what the war is about. So now this kind of mockery and reproach, you cannot get the emancipation from that status and from that texture and from that little stature. You cannot get it donated to us. We must acquire it. We must merit it. So we must organize. We must organize more seriously, and we need more serious people. Thank you. Thank you for this effort.
Wow. Dr. Alexander Chisango, I celebrate you. I really don't know what to say. I feel more sad. However, these are the reality, and what you're saying, and in terms of your work and what you're doing, is spot on, So you repeated the fact that, yes, that tokenism, is just huge in terms of finance, in terms of leaders, and a lot more, that you've shared there. And you summarized it by saying, yeah, okay, it is still attainable for us to have liberation and emancipation, but we need, it needs to be self-acquired. So I'm going to open up the floor now in terms of questions and answers. But although I can already see a lot of input, and this is what normally happens at the Future is Female Virtual Roundtable. 2 hours, 3 hours is not normally enough. There are many, questions and many things I still wanted to ask all of you. However, because of time, I have to stop there. We probably need to continue to have this discussions, because it is vital. It is important. And I know Madeleine is taking note, of this. And they're already doing a lot as well in terms of empowering more women. So I want to open the floor for questions and answers. If you have a question, you could unmute yourself. But if you could raise your hand so that I can see, I know some of us struggle with that emoji, even me sometimes, I have to be honest. But we want to know who you are. We want you to say who you are and which organization you're from. And if you have a question to direct to any of the 3 amazing panelists, you could indicate that. But please give others time, as well, if we have a lot of people asking questions so that we can go around. So I will put a minimum of, or maximum rather, of 2 minutes. And I'll come back to, maybe let me just read some of the things that have been shared, then I'm looking for any hands that is up. I can't see any yet. Oh, I can see now. Okay, Andrea Blackwell, just give me 1 minute. Thank you very much for that. One of the things that stood out for me, just give me 1 minute to share 1 or 2 things that some people have shared in the chat room. I know some of us are reading it, but I would always like to highlight it as well. Pamela Dubé, thank you so much, because I already see you, offering yourself to mentor, if possible. And that's what this is about. How can we connect, with each other and support each other? So you said, yeah, Dr. Mamake, your statement that we get tired is sadly true. At times, you feel even made to feel you're a lone ranger. Dr. Alexander, yes, we have token leaders. Yeah, I could go on, in terms of what you've said there. And there's a lot as well. I want to read what somebody else said. Margaret Toyley, to all greetings. I'm one of the LWA from Kenya, Dr. Margaret Toyley. And she has really written a lot in there, about how we must start from grassroots to advocacy and so on. So, Andre, please unmute yourself and remember, just about 2 minutes for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Andre Blackwell. I'm from the United States. I'm second generation. My father is Jamaican, Ethiopian. I just wanted, I mean, this is all great insight. I believe in, cutting out the greed, since the Council of Berlin, Africa's been very exploited. I just wanted to know, like, somebody that, like this, like my father passed. I'm technically like an American. I'm an outsider, but I do believe building an in-house infrastructure and resources. But for somebody like me, how do I help bridge that gap to help y'all build within over there and not, like interfere with like that building process and just like help like resource wise and things of that nature. I do believe that, like with certain countries like China deploying capital or like United States deploying capital and having the paperwork, it could interfere with like that infrastructure build. So what would you say somebody from like the outside that do want to help with that cause and that building from anybody on the panel list, like how would we bridge that relationship? And what would that look like?
Thank you so much, Andre. Shout out to you. I don't know which state you're joining us from in the state.
I'm in Delaware. I started my own firm. It's called Dream Again. So just my
Okay.
mission statement is we utilize the system tools to help rebuild devalued communities. So I work with like individuals within the United States that's devalued, communities that's devalued. We got games, toys. I teach financial literacy, and I do taxes for the most part. That's just a little bit about myself.
Awesome. Thank you very much, sir. Ethiopian, US, and in the diaspora wanting to put back, I don't know which of our panelists, Dr. Alexander, Madam Fazia, or Professor Caroline wants to respond. And for me, this is good having a men, like we said, and even, from the diaspora saying, yeah, what can we do? How can we help bridge the gap? What can we do to help?
Yes, I can chip in there.
Yes,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Alexander.
Yes, thank you, Andre. It is encouraging to hear, somebody, third generation or second generation African in the diaspora with a patriotic, what I can call global patriotic conviction and commitment and availability to be actually hands-on beyond just mere analysis and theory. So the best way then to do it is to connect with implementation, strategic implementation agencies and networks on the continent. But also as you do that, you need also to be aware and prepared that the first thing is to be committed to build the relationships and trust, because I have seen a lot of very well-intentioned collaborations falling apart, right from the level of the African Union to the level of communities, because sometimes it is because of very small issues, just issues of the way things are done in Africa versus the way things have been done in the Western world. So cultural appreciation and cultural marriage and cultural literacy, which it can restore a lot of business success relationships. So I want to really say that opportunity is available. I want to close by saying, as I make this comment, learn, for example, from the Chinese. I know all of us in this meeting, none of us are racists, but the Chinese, how they enter and how they take over contracts and projects in Africa. They initially, before they do things like bribery and taking advantage of rent seekers and so forth, they enter through presenting themselves as all-weather friends, who really seem to be very patient, and they are willing and patient to get to your raw areas and so forth and so on. And unfortunately, things fall apart when it comes to the motives now, and when it comes to the dividends. That's where you then discover that this thing is not sustainable. But I salute them for the initial humility. When they want to get something, they are very humble. They don't talk down on you or talk down to you. And I've seen a fallout between Africans in the diaspora and Africans on the continent, just on the basis of I know it all versus you don't know it. So I want to really invite you to take part with an open heart and an open hand. And then definitely we must learn, join hands together. This is how the other crops and groups of people have made it. The Indians have been a great success in fostering Indian global collaboration. The Jews have been a great success in fostering Jewish global collaboration. The Caucasians, in the Europeans have been very good at that. Now, Africa, regardless of our original ethnicity, we must understand that we bear the same destiny because we are also facing the same challenges. So you are invited officially to join hands, and our arms are open to walk alongside you and to get you to walk alongside all of us. We have groups that are into infrastructure development, building of village business instance, new towns, smart, agro towns, agro villages, and value addition industries, beneficiation industries, mining, to processing and industrialization kind of ventures, building of new access roads, new airports, and new link communication systems, ICT, and so forth. So there is much room for doing that. In fact, there is better room for doing that in Africa than in the USA, for example. So welcome home.
Thank you. I appreciate your insight. If I could just add like one little follow up. So like with like those relationships, like like people come with good intent. How are y'all like evaluating it? Like, is there any clause like for you to like stop that relationship for building? Like, like when something get infested, you let somebody in and things get infested. How can we prevent, those infestations from, growing and spreading, after they've been initiated? Because I feel like that's a problem. Because if you let somebody get like a piece in and then it starts spreading, how can we stop that spread, in the future and make sure like our relationships stay long term and sustainable?
Thank you, Andrew, for that, and thank you for that input. I know I see John saying as well he has a question. So let's get a reply from either of Professor Caroline
Yeah,
or, yeah, okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to say that thank you for offering your support, and it's very important as well to just join forces and influence change. Hence why these platforms are very important. But I just want to emphasize one point that support is not just donating money. It's about engaging in meaningful action, and also whether through volunteering, whether just through support, raising awareness, joining groups like this, or partnering with Africa-led initiatives. So there are so many organizations that are creating change, and also I know that when you want to, because we saying that we are the change, so it all comes from the heart. And for you, it's the first step as well. And also cultural exchange is very important, just to understand what you want. And also the most important thing is to actually making sure that you're actually, sorry, can you hear me? I'm hearing so much noise. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
we can hear you. We can hear you. Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, because I
No, it's
thought I'm
okay.
hearing so much.
We can hear you.
So I think they are, different organizations that actually support, and also they are welcoming everybody to come and join. So it starts from the heart. That's what I can say as well. So yeah. So thank you.
Thank you
I
very
hope
much.
that answers your questions.
Thank you, Prof. And I think, Dr. Alexander stressed, some of the thing I believe as well is key, about that building relationship and trust, which is a key part, and learning, from others. Madam Fazia, do you want to say anything before I go on to the next person? Mr. John, do you have any comment, to add to what your colleagues have said at this stage? Or Andre? Okay, I
Thank you
think
for
we
the links. I'm gonna copy them. I really appreciate you guys.
awesome.
Really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Yeah.
And we can't wait to see you do more. And, especially from a young person, third generation, thank you for wanting to do. And like Professor Caroline said, it's not just about money. There's a lot of other things, that you could do. And we can never stop, but like Dr. Alexander said, you need to find a way, through that list and LWA, and others, the World Economic Congress, Bold Moves, and a lot of other organizations who help, with that. Okay, now can I get, did I answer your question enough, Andre?
Yes, it did. And I'm actually coming out there next February to Tanzania to do like just to teach some students and stuff like that, and just donate and stuff like that. So I'm going to be actively participating. I was in Egypt last year, so I try to get out there like once a year just to get close to my roots. But
Awesome.
I really appreciate you guys and the list as
Awesome.
well. Yeah.
Awesome. Where are you coming next year? South Africa or where?
Tanzania.
Okay, Tanzania.
Tanzania. I can't even say. You see, I gotta get close to the roots. I can't even say it no more. Yeah, I will be out there. That's
Talk about
South
more in the
Africa.
after party. We do talk more about the after party. Okay.
All right.
We'll
Thank you.
talk more about that. Okay, let me now get Mr. John, who has been waiting patiently to say a few words. Mr. John, I'm trying to look for his message now. If you could unmute yourself, John Bianco.
Yes, thank you, Mama Kay. And I just wanted to acknowledge the speakers of today. Really, they've been very insightful and very interesting, a very powerful subject, geopolitics in Africa. and especially when it comes to women. I mean, it was a time that African women understand the dynamics of geopolitics affecting their lives, you know. And today, just to see the team coming together and speaking about everything that we heard, it's a very, very encouraging. Um, uh, Geopolitics for women in Africa is really very, very important because it's affecting women's lives. You know, when we see wars in Africa, you know, the main target, the main people who suffer are women. You know, vaccine coming into Africa, everybody's talking about vaccine, and you will see who are they targeting? Women in Africa. And if women don't wake up to understand the games that are playing around geopolitics, we will be losing our women, we will be losing our daughters, and Africa will not have the future. It's very important for women to get connected to the geopolitics. Everybody's feeding Africa 1.3 billion, and they understand that the more Africa will have more people, and there is a lot of chances for them to rule the West, and it's creating fears, and that's why they're coming with a lot of policies and targeting women, because they believe the best way to beat Africa is to reduce population, and in the end of the day, we're going to rule over Africa. And I believe that women who constitute 52% of the demographic in Africa need to wake up, because this is something that is really, really very, very dangerous if women do not pay attention to the geopolitics in Africa. Look, I don't believe that we have reached the stage where women keep on playing victim. I mean, you will excuse my language because I'm a straight talker. Africa has produced a lot of powerful women, intelligent women, strategists, and we all can see the result. But I don't believe that we can still crying and asking ourselves, what are we going to do? What are the solutions, while we are sitting with the solution? You know, I will not, the same way I don't believe in blaming colonialism, imperialism. I believe that this is the time for Africans to make the right decision. This is not the time to speak about the policy. It is the time to act when we take into consideration that the lives of women are in danger in Africa if they don't pay attention to the games, to the dynamics of geopolitics in Africa. So among the solutions, I want women to be proactive. Be proactive. Look, let's in South Africa. Let's just speak in South Africa. There were stages where, you know, women marched and went to Pretoria. I mean, it was a collective, an intelligent aspect. Women coming together, you know, in their diversity, you know, and they face the monster. But nowadays we don't see that. Women are fighting not in the block, but individually. We're going to lose the battle if it goes in that way. You know, now women have to challenge the posts that are there in all levels, in the level of SADC and all the 5 block African region to the African Union. We don't see women there. Come on, ladies. Who's going to do it for them? I mean, the actual content of women participating in African development is not the all approach of what can we do for women. Now there is what can we do with women. It means men already acknowledge that women are powerful. Men already acknowledge that women can change Africa. We already created the space for women, but as long as women themselves don't stand up to challenge men where it matters, we will continue to complain. Look at us, the policy, the space, the men already. I mean, that approach is not going to work unless we see women unity from Cape to Cairo, from Somalia to Nigeria, women coming together, speaking as one voice, going to African Union, challenging every post that are there. We want to see that. No man going to stand up to say, no, why are you doing this? Or until you stand up as a unit, and still you speak as one voice, until you vote as the bloc. Even if it's against men, I don't care. As long as you bring the best that can help Africa to move forward. I mean, men will always support it. So complaining, mourning is not gonna help. And really, I never take that for something that can work. Look now, Lady Pando. By the moment the lady stood up, every country in Africa understood that now we have a lady that can speak for Africa. And after she's gone, I mean, us as the men now, we are looking for where another Naledi Panda will come from. From Nigeria, from Kenya, from Somalia. We don't know the next Naledi Panda will come. The voice that was respected in Washington to Russia and everywhere. We need ladies like Pando. And men will not vote for that kind of a personality. Women themselves have to stand up, to show that we have the skill, to showcase the character that they believe will lead Africa to the next generation. And that's a woman. I believe that a woman will make the difference. But unless women stand up, unite, come together, challenge the hierarchy on the top, we're not going to be there. So that's what I wanted to
wow. Mr. John Bianco, I can see how passionate you are, and I'm sure you're already doing a lot of work. Thank you for that input, and I could see a lot of people agreeing with what you're saying, in the chat room. And thank you. You spoke so passionately. I don't even know where to stand, to start from, but I love that phrase about, yes, it's not about, it's no longer what can you do for women, but what can we do with women? And yet a call to action to all of us, especially women, that we need to be collective, more. We're already doing, but we need to do more. Thank you for being so passionate. I know we're 5 minutes to closing. And this is what normally happens. There's not enough time, but for me personally, I've just loved the fact that we're hearing the voices of our men. And that's part of why, yes, we call this The Future is Female. However, it is indeed open, to hear, from our men, because we know we cannot do without our men, especially those who, like Dr. Alexander, John, who are doing so much, to support women. As we call E for she women, So thank you, for all you're doing. I'm not sure whether I don't think we can take any more questions because I know for South Africa it's late. We moved the time to this late. And I know some of us here are seniors. Probably want to go to bed, but I'm still young, so please stay back. Stay back to join the B2B after party and whatever else we want to do. If you do have more questions, please, and if it's directed at anybody, or if you have comment, or if you want to volunteer to support, like the way Andrea said, he wants to put back, in the continent, being a third generation Ethiopian American, in America and wants to do more. And he's already saying he's coming here next year. So there are more people like Andrea who want to do more. Even Professor Caroline is somebody in the diaspora who is doing a lot from a distance. She's currently now in China, just doing so much, for women, and sustainability development and so on. So any more questions, please put in the chat room. I'm going to now invite, I know Madam Madeline had already shared the work of LWA. We will probably share the work of Bold Moves Africa by just sharing our link in the chat room. John from Bold Moves, please do share, where people can connect with us to find out more about, what Bold Moves does. So now I'm going to invite the LWA president, the woman behind all this, to just summarize the discussions and just to give votes of thanks. Don't go yet. I'm watching those who are leaving. You are not allowed to go. And I don't know why today. Normally we see people on video, but today it seems I'm the only one on video, apart from Andrea and Madeline as well. But please, when next you join Future is Female, we want to see your face. We want to see you because I think when we do the video, it allows us to feel as if you're in the same room with us. So please do share your video. And I welcome all those who have joined. I see you all. Winnie Amanda, William Bizondo, I see you all, the winner. And yes, I see Pamela Dubie, like I said, has already volunteered to help mentor Chaha. And I think somebody else volunteers for something else. But there's a lot happening in there. Don't go away yet. We want to hear more from you in a more relaxed after this. It'll just be about 20 minutes, after. So, Madam Madeline, President, CEO of Leading Women of Africa, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Alexander, for this powerful intervention. Thank you, Professor Caroline. Thank you so much, Councillor Fozia. This has been the most insightful session. And I think I don't want to steal time from Mama K with the after party. All I would like to say, like John put it really so well, is that it's time for us to be the story. It's time for us to be the actors of what is happening today. It's no longer what can we do for women, what can we do with women. It's really about time. I think this is my call to this room and to everyone that will follow this video after this, that women need to unite. Without unity, we will not get any further. As we've heard throughout this presentation, the challenges that we're facing, and just for me, two key words that I'm taking with me is that tokenism and trivialization. I think those are very important. Sometimes, we know the words, just as the English words, but the way it was put today, it was like, mind-blowing. And I think let's go out there and think, how can we unite as women? How can we work together? How can we see the future of this continent, that we are like mothers of this continent, and the continent is crying for us? Who's that mother that will not hear the cry of her child? Africa is bleeding. Africa need you. Africa need me. And this conversation will continue. The geopolitics, whether we like politics or not, many of us are not even politicians, but we need to be interested in geopolitics, because whether we like it or not, it will impact us, it will affect us. The better we know, it's actually the better we can find solutions to whatever challenges that we are facing. The conversation continues. Join us on 29th if you really want to spend a full day with key leaders, just engaging, just taking and coming out of solutions. Let your voice be heard. It's time for us to be heard. Time to remain silent is over, because the world is changing. The world is shifting. This is the time. Women need to be heard. Women need to be positioned, and no one will position us. We need to position ourselves. In the midst of this geopolitics, let's find a way to navigate in the midst of these challenges. Thank you so much, and over to you, Mama K.
Thank you. Powerful. I know in the chat room, I'm just going to allow Prince Demeji, because they said we haven't, dealt with, we've only probably got, we're over, but it's okay. They're going into the after party, but it's all good. So we'll let Prince Demeji maybe share the poser, unless I missed it. And Ivy Faith Sander is talking about, that in Malawi, that there will be election later on this year on the 16th of September, and more needs to be done to empower women in terms of capacity building. Thank you, Ivy, for that. And we'll be watching. And yeah, let's see, LWA, how you can push and how you can pull. So if you haven't joined LWA, you are advised, and encouraged to do join. They shared, please share again, Madeline, the way people can connect to leading women of Africa. And yeah, and then I'll ask, okay. Willoughby is sharing his website, the Eagle She Art Life. I believe that is. And yeah, what else? I'm just trying to see. So, Pen Pushing Media, do you want to unmute yourself? Just 1 minute. If you want to just say something, and then we'll officially finish. But please, you don't need to go anywhere. We'll be about 20 minutes after party. Okay, pen pushing. I think that's Prince Dimeji, if I'm correct. You need to unmute yourself. If not, we're just going to go straight into. But you all heard the call to action there. Yeah, we need more women to win. We need to take action. It is time to be heard. Africa is bleeding. And yeah, Batha, thank you very much. Though I joined late, but I've gained a lot. Thank you very much for that feedback. Southern Africa women are proud of Dr. Nandi, who was inaugurated today as the 5th president of the Republic of Namibia and the first woman president after 35 years of freedom. Yes, we spoke about that at the beginning. And I heard, earlier on, Joyce Manda, former president of Malawi, was there, the former vice president, Madam Pumzile. They were all there celebrating, with her in Namibia. So yeah, so pen pushing, thank you. I don't know whether I saw you unmuted yourself. Do you still want to say anything? Just 1 minute, please. Pen pushing, Dr. Prince Dimeji. Okay, all right.
Can I just say one thing? Sorry.
Yeah, Professor Caroline, go on. Any of our panelists still want to say anything in closing? We can still go in 5 minutes into the after party. So yeah, that's okay. So go on, Professor Caroline.
Because obviously I was encouraged by when you talk about time for action. So I just wanted to encourage everybody that now is the time for action, whether you are women empowerment, policymaker, business leaders, activists. It's time for action, because together we can build more than just a prosperous and resilient Africa. So Africa's future depends on us. So let's take the next step towards the real change. But thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Caroline. Madam,
can you hear me now?
Okay, can I give just 1 minute, sir? Can I give Madam? We can hear you. We can hear you. Okay, go ahead, and then I'll get Madam. Yes.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I've earlier sent that question. Maybe it was not seen. Now, the point I raised then was this: what can we do to address this issue of women working against women? This is something that has been rampant, particularly in the political circle. I gave an example. I have a number of examples, but I gave one example that happens in Nigeria. At a point in time, there was a female presidential candidate who, during their primaries, the primary of the party, scored 1 vote. What happens to the woman who claimed to be her supporter? This is very disturbing. And I do say it every time and everywhere that women remain the best manager in all ramifications. But unfortunately, I don't know why many women decided to always work against the interest of their colleagues. I have experienced one incident where I was almost frustrated because I was trying to support the cause of women. And I find it very disturbing as well. And for you to know that in pen pushing media, I introduced a policy, and that policy has to do with the relevance of women. The chairman of our editorial board is a woman. The chairman of the advisory committee of pen pushing media is also a woman. That's to tell you how we appreciate women and try to encourage them. But when they started working against each other, it's very disturbing. That's the point I want to raise.
Okay, thank you very much. I think Councillor Fozia did touch a little bit on this, and I think previous Future is Female Virtual Roundtable, we have kind of covered that a lot as well, but thanks for bringing it up. What I'll just do is, Councillor Fozia, if you're still here, if you could unmute yourself and just say a few words, either in closing or to reply, because that's a valid thing, you know, and that we salute you, sir, for what you're doing within the organization in terms of relevance of women at pen pushing media, and we'll continue to celebrate you. And so if I could ask Fazia to please, just in closing, maybe reply, because I know that's something we've spoken about a lot, you know, in 2024, 2025, but, you know, you're sharing your personal experience, which is still valid. And I believe to some extent, you know, it's still happening a lot. So, Fazia, can you unmute yourself and just any final words you want to share? Can you unmute yourself? Are you still there? Unless this network is well challenged.
Are you referring to me?
No, not you. Not you, sir. Not you. Okay, let me call on Madeline. Can you speak to that topic within a minute, Madeline? Please, I think maybe Jose is away. Madeline Nkunu, I know you already did your summary.
Yes. Sorry.
Just to respond to that very quickly. And then we go to the after party.
Who's in charge of that?
Right. So what was the last comment?
No, about the fact that some women are working against women in terms of political circles. And I said we've spoken a little bit about that before, but now, you know, maybe you just want to summarize some of what needs to happen.
Right, I will summarize, but Dr. Alexander's hand is up. Maybe he can go first. Yes.
Okay, I didn't see that. Okay, let's allow Dr. Alexander then. I know he said in closing then, so I didn't want to disturb you. Go ahead, sir. Can you unmute yourself, sir?
Thank you. The issue of some women working against some women, it's not a one-sided story, like in the case that my brother was giving there. Those women who are supposed to be voting for the other woman who got 1 vote from the women, I've noticed that there are some women who take other women for granted, and they believe that if I throw my name into the circle, simply because I'm a woman, every woman will vote for me. But I want to believe that as serious women, they vote seriously as well. When they vote, they are looking for a woman who is a true representative of their aspirations and who identifies with their struggles and who is not elitist, who is not a manipulator or an opportunist. So the women voters are not absolutely, completely fools. They know what they want. And sometimes if they discover that they can't get it from a woman who is misrepresenting their interests, but thinking that she can take advantage of their plight and pretend to represent them. I've seen sometimes women coming out in the open to say, we are not going to be taken for a ride. So I think it's a two-way story. And I think it would be very unfortunate if it comes to a day where women simply vote for a woman because that woman is claiming to be a woman, but does not carry women's interests and is not going to deliver the expectations and aspirations of the women. So I think it's a two-sided story. The woman who expects to be elected and supported must be as hardworking as Madeline Mukuru and Omkunu, and as hardworking as Mama, who is hardworking here. You can't just get support on a silver platter because you are grandstanding as a woman. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Alexander Chisango, for that input. It's not a one-sided story. It's a two-way story, and I think it's something we'll continue, to talk about. And thank you so much, sir, Pen Pushing Media, for bringing that up. Keep supporting, keep doing your bit, and I think that's what is really, really important. Thank you, Lovette, saying this was a very informative session, that we women, we have the power in our hands to do anything politically and also in business, above all, to work together and support each other. Okay, I can see this is what normally happens. So we can claim we've officially kind of finished. So we're in the after party mood, but it's okay. Ivy, I can see your hand raised. And like, we've all said, Kinako, as we say in South Africa, the time for Africa is now. So I will have Ivy just 1 minute, please. And then we'll go on to the after party and the what we're going to do. It's not a lot of things, but I think it's an important thing for us to do, just to wind down and to celebrate, as well as women. So Ivy, can you briefly unmute yourself and please 1 minute? I don't know whether there's a question, a comment, or anything. Unmute yourself, and if you could put your video on, we would love to see you.
Okay, thank you very much for giving me a time. I'm Ivy from Malawi. Currently, I'm a sitting councillor, but now I'm contesting as a member of parliament. Yeah, I just want to add on that comment that some women, they get advantage to another women, but sometimes the influence coming from the party. So we find that some party that just take one women or other side to encourage her, and they give her the power that she can do everything to another woman. So what I'm seeing, the best thing, we need also to advocate to other parties to show them what is needed for if they have two women at the same time, they're contesting the same position. So they need to choose one in the name of love, not someone to abuse another lady. So I'll just want to add that a point that sometimes influence is coming from the party. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Miss Ivy Faith Sunday. All the very best for you with you contesting at the election, Member of Parliament. Thank you for stepping forward, because this is all what this is about, geopolitics. What are we doing, stepping forward? So good luck to you in Malawi, for during the election. Thank you for that input, and can't wait to see you again and for you to either even be, come back, sharing with us that you are now a Member of Parliament. So Madeline, take note. Let's watch this space. Okay, thank you so much. I think we forgot people on Facebook. Thank you. I saw Wendy, another powerful woman in Cape Town doing a lot as an entrepreneur. We salute you. I've seen a lot of people, there. So thank you. Thank you to all women for what you're doing. So the after party, we're just going to take 5-10 minutes. We won't be too long. So this is where we relax and we breathe. And thank you for all those who have stayed behind. I can still see a lot of us stayed behind. So for those who can put their video on, please put your video on. But what we want to do for the beginning of this session, we want to play a poem, by one of our ladies, South African woman. She's a Pan-African. She does a lot of work in Africa, in South Africa. She's a teacher, an entrepreneur. She's a poet. She's a comedian. She's an MC. She's a motivational speaker. I wanted her to join us today, but unfortunately it clashed, with another program where she would have done the poem, herself. She's Black Queen. So we're going to share a poem that she wrote and with some slideshow of her photos. And then the session we're going to have after that is start thinking of a poem that you can do. We will play the background music. Already saw Madeline starting, with us saying Africa is bleeding, Africa needs you. So we want some powerful, bold people here, men or women, to come up with a short open mic, session on poems. So technical, can you play that slideshow for us?
A native woman. Who is this native woman? She is a woman of integrity, a woman of intellectuality, that woman who smiles when she should be crying. She is that woman who carries shame and still walk tall. She is native because she comes from a nation that gave birth to wonderful women, a nation that embraces women from other nations, and that is a native woman. Who is this native woman? She is that woman some say is ugly, but I say she has inner beauty. Others describe her as that thin woman. Others describe her as a fat woman. But I say she is the perfect image of God. Some classify her as black. Some classify her as white. But she is a woman of no color. She is a native woman. Who is this native woman? She is that woman who has been deceived, abused, discriminated, separated from her own children, separated from her own hard work, separated from her own humanity, separated from her own dignity. And that is a native woman. You love her. You hate her. The choice is yours. If you love her, please treat her with respect. And if you hate her, look into yourself and see if it's not because of your jealousy. So, who is this native woman? I am
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Who is a native woman? Thank you. Powerful words there from my dear sister from another mother, Ajoke, Black Queen. I celebrate you. And you heard all the qualities in terms of what a native woman has, a perfect image of God. So for those of you still here now, let's see, either in the chat room or for you to be bold enough to want to share. So what are the qualities, of a woman, for you that stand out? Since we have men as well in the room, it could be your mother, it could be your brother, your sister rather, your auntie, cousin, female cousin, your teacher, your community leader. So let's see who can be bold enough to give us a short poem, of a woman, or just write it as well in the chat room. So we're focusing on poetry today. So let's see, and we got Black Queen to start us off. So let's see who can follow up, on that. Anyone there, or I'm going to call somebody out. Who can we call out? Let's see. Who can we call out? Okay, let's see. Professor Caroline, let's see. Come on, give us a short statement or whatever, what you will see as a native woman or African woman as we continue to celebrate International Women's Month. So it could be women, in the UK. It could be African women in the UK.
Is it African women, or it could be any woman?
Anyone. Go for it. Anyone, go for it.
Yeah, I'll say Mother Teresa.
Okay, all right, Mother Teresa.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah, because she represents kindness, love, everything as well. So yeah.
Awesome. Anyone, Denise, I see you. Any woman that has, for you that stood out, or you want to share a poem, or you want to say something about them. And I want to start, and I think I admire Dr. Alexander there when he started, even by describing Madeline there, resilient, about change. Somebody won't say no, always going for selfless. So I salute you, my dear sister Madeline. I see you, we honor you, we celebrate you. So anybody else? Let's see. Lynette, let's see. Who else? Please feel free. This is where we're going to just, we normally do dance, but today this is about serious stuff in a way. But we want you to recognize, and I heard Dr. Alexander saluting his wife. Is she still in the house? Let's hear her voice. Madam Chisango, are you here? Because that's what we want to see. Okay, Professor. Okay, Wangari, Denise, thank you for that. Okay. Let's see more women. There's nobody that does poetry here or poem who can come up with something short. Let's see. Chifamba, Adamo Ibrahim, I'm calling a lot of people now. So Ivy, do you want to tell us something? Give us a poem or anything else you want to share? Okay, Lynette. Okay, go on, Lynette. We see you, Lon. Unmute yourself.
Hello, hi, good evening, everybody.
You have to tell us who you are and where you're joining us from.
Okay, hi, Dr. Mama. Hi, everybody. I'm Lonette, and I am from South Africa. And I would just like to say, I think, as women, we face so many challenges, and we overcome all of these challenges. So we should take these challenges and turn them into celebrations, because I think we have the capacity, we have the knowledge, we have the heart, we have empathy. And this is something that's a driving force, whether you're a single woman, whether you're a mom, whether you're a granny, whether you're an aunt, a sister, a friend, and we have that, we have that togetherness. So there should be nothing that should stop us from wanting to do something that's powerful, not only for us, but for our future generations, because they need that. And they need our help. They need our guidance. They need us to show them what's the right way, what's the ethical way, what's the honest and humble way of being able to do something that is so powerful And we have it within ourselves. When we are powerful, we have this overwhelming feeling that goes through our body, the surge of energy. And I think that we are so powerful as not just women, but also as with men as well. And we have that, and we can work together to actually do something in a more lucrative way, in a way that just does not just benefit one community, but benefits every community, because we all have things that go on in our lives. We all have a story to tell. We all have a book to write. And, you know, we're not going to know anything if we don't put our forces together. And putting our forces together, working together, being together, learning together, and, you know, just having that impact. I think it is one of the most beautiful things that we can do for each other now at this time. So thank you for the platform.
I salute you. Thank you, Lynette. Powerful words there. Turn our challenges into celebration. We all have a story to tell indeed. Thank you so much for that. You are blessed. I can see William Zondo. You've written kind of a poem or something in there, Leading Women Strong and True. I want you to share it with us. So unmute yourself and share it with us. I'm not going to read it. So I want to hear that voice. He's one of the strong supporters of Leading Women of Africa, and he does things like this as well easily. So William Zondo, can you share what you've written?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. If you can put your video on, how come it's only my own face everybody is seeing now? Put your video on. Let's see your face. Only Andre put his face.
My video function here is blocked. I don't know. Technically,
it's okay. No pressure. Go for it. No pressure.
I don't know what's going on there. But yes,
okay.
So as you said,
tell us who you are, and then yeah.
Oh yes. All right. My name is Will Zondo. Call me Will, is in short, Zondo. I do run a program called the Eagle's Heart Life Coach. I focus on diversity and inclusion, team building, strategy facilitation, collaboration facilitation. I do teen powering challenge, you know, sort of using robotics and technology so that they can integrate and talk and listen to each other, and many other more. That's both on social and corporate schools. There's one, I just spoke to Madeline Kun just recently to do one team collaboration, team building for Leading Women of Africa. So watch out for this space, and we're still talking about it. But anyway, this is what I put together. I am based in Cape Town, and originally from Malawi. All right, so let's see. What did I put in here? Where am I?
Leading Women of Africa, right? Go for it.
So yeah, I said Leading Women of Africa Rise, because I just looked at the organization and what's been doing. So I say, Leading Women of Africa Rise, bringing hope to brighter skies. Hearts so bold, minds so keen, building dreams where none have been. Through the lands, their voices soar, opening up each locked up doors, lifting others hand in hand, lighting paths across the land of Africa. Leaders so strong, with a vision so wide, breaking limits, turning tides. Africa shines with power so bright, thanks to women's guiding light. leading women of Africa.
Come on, let's
Thank
give it
you.
in the clap. Put your different emojis up there. Leading women, strong and true. Wow, beautiful. And you even got to your soundtrack, as well behind there.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Doctor.
Mr. Will. I salute you, Boligbanji.
Ziri no zigenda zikongwambiri.
Thank you. Wow.
By the way, just to let you know, I was
Raise
in
the
Nigeria
bar.
in October.
You are doing what?
I was in Nigeria in October.
Okay.
Yeah. I was doing a diversity and inclusion session with the
You see?
World Food Program,
Always
United
nice.
Nations. So yeah,
Awesome.
just to let you know that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, my bro. I salute you. Ivy Faith has got her hand back up. Okay. Now let's see can you raise the bar? Do we want the music? Come on, Ivy. What do you want to? I can see a lot of people now in the chat room. People who have just joined as well. So Ivy, what are you doing? Performing for us.
Okay. Yes, I was trying to unmute myself.
Okay. We can
I just
hear you
want
now.
to women. Yeah, lies women, lies the world is your cream. With a dream that to burn, passion frame. In a realm of business, you're born to soar. A fearless pioneers open doors. You carry vision in your steady hand, building empire from your own strong plans. Through every challenge, through each double you face. Your strength and courage leave lasting trust. No mountain too high, no path too steep. For within your heart, ambition lands deep. With wisdom, vast and hard that bond. You craft your future, watch it unfold. The Lord may paint and wind may fight, but you stand tall, a beacon of light for every woman with a dream to chase. You lead the way and make your space. Lies women, let nothing hold you back. Thank you very much for giving me time. I just want to encourage women.
See? Madeline, we're going to compile a book of all these poems that people are dropping. I salute you, Ivy.
Amazing stuff, eh? Well done, Ivy.
Building empires. Yes, thank you. No mountain too high. Wow. You see, Will, you've started it. Well, I think it was Madeline that started with that. Africa is bleeding. Africa needs.
Mine wasn't a poem. I was just saying.
I know, but you can make it into it. You can make it into it.
Well,
come on. Go for it. Let's hear you. Come on. And technical, just give us a no words background. Do you want to go for it, Madeline? And we're going to wrap up in 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness, Mama K. Mama K, you're gonna embarrass me. Africa is bleeding, like women in labor, ready to deliver a healthy baby. Africa is waiting. Africa is coming. Africa is rising. So arise, mothers of Africa. Thank you.
Book. At the end of the day, can you see? Who else want to go last one and then we're done? Because I know it's 10:37 in South Africa, 9:37 in West Africa, and yes, some people probably in China. Prof is probably out fully awake now. We've kept her awake in China, and Andrea in Delaware, probably afternoon, as well that side. So they've still got a lot of time. So anybody, and then we'll wrap it up. So I'm seeing, okay, we've got 3 people. Winnie Amanda says, wow, well done. Thank you. Thank you all. So I think that's all it just shows how, as well, we can be creative, in terms of, like, I think somebody said, no matter the challenge, we have, but turn it into celebration. And in Africa, I think we're known, for doing that. For when people die, we dance. When people have a baby, we dance. When people, a lot of things like that, we sing. So I celebrate you all the women. Thank you all. And feel free. I can see Will sharing his contact details, there as well. This is what this is about. If you feel you want to connect with Will in terms of what he does with team building, he already said, yeah, he's a Malawian living in South Africa and recently went to Nigeria. So that's, Africa is a big continent for all of us to support each other, be it in Ethiopia, be it in Malawi, be it in, like so, John said, from Cape to Cairo. So there's a lot we can do. Thank you, Winnie Amanda. You've shared your number, but you haven't shared what you do. Now, let's see what you do, and then we're going to wrap it up. That's it. What do you do? Share what you do in the chat room and your contact details. This is the best way to connect with each other. You never know where that could lead into. So, Winnie from Uganda, I see your number, but I don't know what you do. So you need to say, what do you do? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a young digital creator? Are you a senior politician? Just, in one phrase, and you never know who might want to connect with you. But for those who have stayed this long, wow, 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 thank you. We started, some joined 30 minutes before we even started. I was going to take the note of the people who joined. Is there anybody still here who joined earlier? I mean, at 7:30 South African time. Is anybody still in the room? I need to give you a prize, apart from the panelists, because
Yes,
they've been
yes,
here.
yes, yes. I'm here.
You're
You
here.
know that
Who?
the
The
winner.
The
winner.
winner,
Yes.
the winner,
The winner.
and she's a
Okay.
winner.
Yes.
The winner. We need to find out what kind of prize we can give you. So I'll think about it. If you come for the next feature is female, then you'll get your prize. I don't know what it will be. Just remind me.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm the one. I'm the one who just put the main that I've been missing, but they gave
So
me
you
something
said what?
else.
We can hear you well.
I said I did this opportunity for women, but they gave me something else to contact some doctors. I'll talk to them. Others are just sending email or I'll talk to them.
Okay, it's not a very good line, but I
I
think
said
I
I'm
heard
one
a
of those people they say they need a mentor.
okay.
Oh,
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome.
I'm
Thank you,
waiting for
man.
my present. Thank you so much. I think it was
Awesome.
really very powerful. I really thank you so much. Looking forward to my present. I
Thank
say
you, the
thank you, really,
winner.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for
and
joining.
Pen pushing says he was here from the beginning.
Oh,
What
yeah. Oh,
prize are
yeah.
you
He
gonna
was.
give
He
him, Mama
was.
Kay?
We need to think of what prizes for next time. Okay. So when you come, all those who are here from the beginning, we can even check. So we'll
Yes,
now think of a prize for you for next time. I don't know what, but it will be a fun thing. Trust me. So
Great.
thank you, Ben
oh,
Pushi.
thank you so much. Thank
Ivy.
you so much.
And if
Okay.
you are in Cape Town, Mr.
Okay,
Will
bye.
Zondo is planning to organize team building for
Timber.
leading women of Africa. So we will let you know the date. Thank you, Will, for
Awesome.
offering
Awesome.
organize
So
the
that
team
will be a
building for us.
physical activity.
It will be a
Or
physical activity, yes.
are men invited or just the women?
It will be men as well. I mean, he's the
Okay.
facilitator, so
So
if
it's
he's
just
the man, he
yeah.
will be gathering us. So I think any man can join us.
Let's just
Well,
say
this
it's
is what
diversity and inclusion, we include all.
oh,
Yes,
exactly.
we include them.
Very, very inclusive. Thank you all so much, Winnie Amanda. Thank you. She said so much for this wonderful time. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. And you can see we're seeing action, as well here. We are not just about talking. Because most times, there are webinars, you just talk, there are no actions, but already we can see, proper action. I think Andre is no longer. I would have wanted to hear more from him, here, but I think it's dropped off. But we see you all. And I think where is it now? Lynette, such a fabulous evening. Thank you, everybody. And Winnie Amanda, okay, yes, you said who you are. I'm a young entrepreneur. You see, I guess you are an entrepreneur, dealing in tailoring and many others. And she shared social media handles. Well, that's all we've got time for. It's almost 11 o'clock on this side of the world. Wish you all the very best. It's a long weekend holiday for us in South Africa. And just want to tell you all, stay safe, stay blessed. We'll let you know when the next feature is female will be taken on, and more amazing partners. Thank you again to Dr. Alexander. They're still on for staying till this, last minute. And thank you, Professor Caroline. Thank you, Fozia. Thank you. We salute you. We can't wait to hear more and see more of what you are doing in your own way to make sure, all the issues, women in geopolitics, are able to navigate geopolitical challenges. And we will be sharing the recording hopefully in the next week or two, and we will let you know, where to get them. But keep checking out, Leading Women of Africa, and it's a wrap. I think we've done well. Madeline, anything
Thank
else?
you so much, Mama K. Thank you to you.
Let's do photos now.
Thanks so much.
Can we do photos? I know it's only about two of us with photos. Technical, can you just take a picture, find a way to take a picture of, just so the names, everybody's name can show. And we're still working.
Bye.
So everybody, bye-bye. Hello, bye-bye. Hello, we see you. We celebrate you. Stay blessed, stay healthy. Adamu Ibrahim, Lala, Winnie.
They still got a lot of people, huh?
I know, that's why I'm still calling everybody's name. Lynette, Lala, Margaret, we see you. Thank you. And Pen Pushing is still saying something. Ivy, all the very best with your House of Parliament. We wish you all the very best.
Just a brief reminder. Just a brief reminder.
Okay, go on, Pen Pushing Media.
Yeah. Congratulatory letter message to
yes,
the newly elected president.
It will definitely come by Monday. By Monday, it will be there.
Okay.
Okay.
Done. Okay, I think that's it. We see Ivy's face now.
Yeah.
Our sister in Malawi is good. Yes, we want to see faces, huh? Yes. Don't worry, next time I will come with my pajamas so that you all can be relaxed.
Yeah.
So much. Good to see you all. Thank you.
There's the winner. Did you see the winner's face?
No, winner didn't put the face on. Come on, the winner. We want to see your face. Where is it? I can't see. How come I can't see?
The winner. Let's find her.
Where's the winner?
Lynette.
Yeah. That's the winner. Okay, photos. We should be taking photos of everyone. Thank you all, and share. Please continue to connect. Let's continue to do the best we can, with making sure women in probably had to go for iftar. We've delayed some people. That was probably what